All right, we are back with another Amazon tea time. My name is Daniela Bolzman. I'm the founder of Mindful Goods. I am joined by one of our amazing creative directors, Anaya. And you know what, Anaya?
Hello.
I have to say, I have been super disappointed when I go to search in Google or on AI for the top 10 e-commerce website, top 10 A plus content, top 10 Amazon storefronts, and
Just terrible.
they're so bad. That's one of my pet
Terrible.
peeves, but that's also why I thought it would be fun today to pull some of the top 10 beverage brands A plus content that we see online and to give the viewers the ones that we think are best in class, coming from a creative agency that's working with 150 direct to consumer brands every single year. We help them with their content, we help them with their split testing. Like, we constantly need to be creative and inspired. And so we just wanted to round up our favorites that are inspiring us at the moment. Some of them are our clients, some of them are not, but we're going to show you what we like about what they're doing with their A plus content and why it stands out to you. Are you ready?
Okay, let's go. Let's start with the first brand. So the first brand is Juni, and honestly, it deserves to be the first one that we show. We've actually worked with Juni, and this is a Naples concept that we have designed, so I am going to be a little bit biased. So the first thing that you're going to notice is that we are not screaming about what the product is, why it's good for you, all of the badges. We start with a very beautiful lifestyle image of the founders, Jay and Roddy, and we're basically showing happy, healthy faces of them showing the product like that. And a lot of you guys must already know them. And if you know them, you know that they're very healthy people. They have very healthy lifestyles. And when you see similar faces like that, trust factor for the product immediately goes up. And I love the fact that when you scroll down, there's so much breathing space around everything over here. Everything is so scannable. If we scroll down all the way, you can pretty much scan every single thing in 30 seconds. And if you walk away, you'll still know exactly what the product is, what is inside, and why it's good for you, and why you should choose Juni. Getting to the specific things that I love about this brand, first of all, they have a beautiful us versus them going on over here. So instead of just telling your customer, hey, we are 5 calories, we are zero sugar, we are zero carbs, and that we're healthy, in the customer's mind, the customer is going to think, but how is that better? So if we already have the other brands here being compared to, then everything starts to make sense for the customer. Then the 5 calories per bottle starts to make sense, and then they understand, okay, now this is actually really good for me because the other brands has all of the crap that I don't even need. And us versus them is something that we recommend to all the brands that we work with.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll add a third point here is bringing in the UGC content and that community factor. So when you have celebrity founders like we do in the case of Jay and Roddy, that's like the best case scenario. It's like a home run for us. The other thing that they came to us with was these stunning, amazing lifestyle imagery, which they knew exactly what they wanted when they took these photos. And one thing that you'll notice across every example that we're going to show you today is every brand has a unique identity with their photography. The way that it was taken is particularly done for their style of product, for their brand. And that's something you need to figure out as a brand owner. So we highly recommend investing in high quality photography. Even though everyone's talking about AI these days, yes, you can use AI to supplement, but you should definitely explore building your identity with your own custom photography that is meant for your brand, like we see in this case that we've layered in. And the final point is bringing in that UGC content at the bottom where you're already investing in this as a brand on Instagram or on TikTok. Bring that in to show people who your brand is, what they're all about, and bring them into that experience on Amazon. That's something that I think is missing from a lot of brands on Amazon, quite frankly. It's like really stale content. And when you have the opportunity to do what we did here with premium A plus content on Amazon, you can build in video, you can build in carousels. It's full scale content that's built like a landing page. So the reason why it's so digestible, to your point, is because it was built like a landing page that you would see on a direct to consumer website. So that is the benefit of having premium A plus content, which by the way is free. So I highly recommend upgrading to premium A plus content so you can have more dynamic content like this and you can do more with your content that shows up full scale in desktop and in mobile. So this is a great example. Definitely we're biased because
Great
this is one that
example.
we got to work with here Hero product. Love this one. So let's get into the next one. Rishi, again, one of our favorite brands that we had the opportunity to work with, so we're a bit biased on this one as well. But a couple things to point out on this one. One, you'll notice something that we carried over, and it's a best practice that is done with many brands at this point, not just the clients we work with. It was something that was our signature move for many years, so I used to claim ownership of this. But if you take the two first banners of your content and stack them together, that's what creates this big, huge hero banner that takes over your screen. And that's the whole function of A+ content. If you think through it from a shopper's perspective, I've already checked out the carousel. I've already checked out the competition. I've clicked into the listing. I've checked out some of the carousel images above. I'm like quickly digesting, and I just need to know a few more things. I'm going to go check out the reviews, but I have one more chance to sell this customer if I get them to stop on the A+ content. And so you do that by combining those two hero shots, those two banners at the top to be one big hero shot. And that's what gets them to stop the scroll. The other thing that you'll notice with Rishi that we did really well, and this is something that is a best practice as well, is making sure you have your media mentions. In this case, we put them at the top. So we're immediately showing, hey, Rishi is a household name. It's mentioned in all of these media outlets. It's really well known, and you're instantly being brought into the trust ladder. The final thing I'll point out, because I think with every one of these examples, there's so many amazing things that were done in these designs. We could spend all day talking about them. But the third thing I wanted to point out, just another best practice, is anchoring with a cross-selling module. So a custom image that shows that you have multiple different flavors. In the case of Rishi, they have a massive catalog. So we had to figure out like what were the next best sellers to highlight in their buying journey. So we knew this shopper was buying this type of tea. Now we served up the best sellers related to this tea type, like these tea bags, so that they could then pick and choose and maybe increase the average cart value for this product. So that's another best practice that you want to think through in terms of what is your catalog, what is your strategy, what is your goal. This is an established brand, so their goal is going to be getting people to buy more. And that's what we did in this case.
Love that. The next one is Bureau. This is a great example of a premium brand with a celebrity founder. So if you scroll down a little bit more, you're going to see this is actually founded by Tom Holland. So at the beginning of the module, like Daniela mentioned, we always recommend having the two modules combined on the top. The first thing to introduce your product big and bold. And for Bureau, before you even read a single word on this A+ content, the design has already done its job. The deep greens, the muted golds, and just the texture of the beautiful photography, the editorial, dark, moody photography. By the way, this is something that AI could never do. And even if you tried, it's going to take a long time to get to this level of luxury photography. So this isn't just a beverage listing. It looks like a premium drinks brand. And that's the entire point. The design, the photography, the videos of Tom Holland, the premium pricing. That's what a great A+ content does. It sells the experience. If you see this video, it's selling the experience, the positioning, and not just the product. And then the brewing process section. So this is one of my favorite sections because it takes you behind the scenes through the actual process that goes into making these drinks. And so most beverage brands just completely skip this. But for shoppers like me who doesn't drink alcohol and is always wondering if non-alcohol beer can actually taste good and premium, this section really answers it for me. So when I see these beautiful images of how it's actually made, it just shows the work and lets the work speak for itself. And it just completely convinces me that it's premium. And then finally, if we go down, we see the press mentions, the Forbes, and it's saved for the end. And Daniela mentioned in the previous A+ content that Rishi has it all the way on the top of their A+ content. So it doesn't really matter where you put it, but having it is what's important. And so by the time the shopper looks at the whole A+ content, every single module is pulling the same direction, and that direction is premium. And that's why this A+ content converts so well.
This is a home run. We love this one. This was not our client, by the way, but to go back to the step-by-step process, that is something that is a best practice whenever possible. And it's not for every product, but when it makes sense for your product, we highly recommend bringing people along for the ride because it does exude transparency. It does help people understand your product better. It is part of the trust ladder because it's helping to educate the shopper. So I would only recommend 3 to 4 steps maximum. You don't want to have step 5, step 6, step 7, and building it into a carousel is a great way to do that. Again, you can only do that if you have what's called premium A+ content on Amazon. So love this one. Love this example. Again, you'll notice their photography is very different from the other examples and very much part of their premium identity. So that's another great one to call out and show its differences and its feeling and everything. So
Love it.
so Ride is another one of our clients. So again, we are a little bit biased on this one, but pay special attention to the hero shot at the top. Again, bringing the two banners right there at the top, which is a best practice, calling out the USP, bringing you in with a really tailored and focused product hero shot right there at the top. Who is this for? It's for the busy executive on the go. I'm going to either be more focused or more productive or more energized or whatever the function is for this beverage. I'm calling it out. The other thing you're going to notice is the hierarchy that was done throughout all of the imagery. It's a main header, a subhead, and then call outs that are reinforcing what we're saying on the screen. Rinse, repeat all the way down the screen so that everything is digestible at a glance. That's another best practice that Anaya and I are pointing out on almost every single one of these examples. Everything is super digestible. Other couple points to mention here is bringing in that UGC content. It's content that you're already investing in. We're just bringing it along for the ride into this listing. And then the next module, you'll see a cross-selling module done in a different way. So rather than showing a hero shot of all the different products, we're showing the family of product in a couple different fun moments so that you realize, oh yeah, there's different functions. Let me go check those out as well. So I love this example because again, it's showing you what premium A+ content can be when you think outside the box and do something a little bit different that is more of that direct to consumer approach rather than a static Amazon page that you typically see that falls a little flat. If we want our products to convert better, we got to be thinking at the next level. We got to be really bringing people into these experiences. And I know that's something that you talk about a lot, Anaya, is like, how do we make them feel things? How do we bring people into the experience? And not everything has to be a premium experience like Tom Collins brand. This is for the everyday person. And you can feel that with the colors. You can feel that with the shots. Like this feels like it could be for everyone that's on the go that has a busy life and wants to get stuff done. So that's what this communicates to me, and it's bringing me along for the ride. At its core, that's what your content should be doing for you on Amazon. It should be selling that experience for you because you can't be there to sell it yourself.
Agreed. So the next brand is Hiyo.
By the way, I want this to be Hiyo. I'm the only one that's like,
Hiyo,
I want to call it Hiyo, but I get it. Okay, Hiyo.
Hiyo, yeah. All right. By the way, this is not our brand. So what Hiyo is doing here is that they open their A+ content with a product lineup. So it's 6 cans and it's a warm, sandy background, each one paired with a fresh fruit. Super simple, beautiful, no text needed. And the design alone communicates that premium feel. And take note of that because sometimes the strongest thing that you can do in your A+ content is just let the great product images breathe. All right. You don't need text all the time everywhere. And so that's something they do amazingly over here. Start big and bold with their product images, like we always recommend for all the brands that we work with. And then if we scroll down, you have this amazing module over here. It starts with feel the float. So I love that they've given a name to the feeling that you get when you drink Hiyo. So if your product creates a specific outcome or a feeling, name it, own it, and build around it. And that's what separates a commodity from a brand. And it's what makes you stand out and actually be remembered. And then what I love the most is a good founder story. And this one is beautiful because it's raw and it's honest. They share that their family members were hospitalized, and it was the moment that sparked the idea for Hiyo. That moment is what built the brand. And so that level of realness on an Amazon listing is not common. It works because the shoppers can feel when something is genuine. And when something is genuine, shoppers tend to connect with the brand. And so it gives them a reason to choose you over other brands. So we always love having a founder story. If you have something that is super emotional, super raw and real, have it and shout about it.
Yes. That hero hero shot at the top. We've done tons of split tests on different A+ content, and it shows that having a shot of your family of product, either as the first thing people see on your A+ content or your storefront, is one of the best ways to build trust in the trust ladder and to improve conversion, because people subconsciously go, oh wow, this is a legitimate brand because it's not just one product. They have more than one product. Not only that, you're introducing cross-selling immediately into their mind of, ooh, which flavor do I want? Maybe I should buy the variety pack. So for a couple different reasons, we're able to increase conversion that way. Then getting back to your point about the feeling of the floating. So for the feel the float, I think this is such a good call out that you made. It's so important that for something like this, because when we think about the way that we feel after we drink alcohol, we do not feel the best. Most of us don't feel good after a night of drinking. And so this is basically introducing the opposite. It's introducing you the light feeling. And yes, they're calling out like these are the functional ingredients that are in here, but what is the end result of the functional ingredient? The end result of the functional ingredient is you not feeling like caca. The end result of the functional feeling is you feeling like you're floating instead of feeling like you're bloated. So this is so great the way that they did this. And then the founder story, I don't think enough brands are doing
I love it.
I don't think enough brands are putting themselves out there. So many people have imposter syndrome, or they have a hard time telling their story of why they created this. But when you are the type of founder, and this is very specific to the type of brands that we work with, we always try to find this and extract this story out of them, because it doesn't necessarily have to be a story about you as a founder. It can be about the brand and the reason why you put this into the world. And so think through that lens of what is it that people want to know about me or the story to connect with this type of product, right? Because there's something to be said for the way that people love to hate Amazon. You either love Amazon because of the convenience and it making your life easier, or you hate Amazon because you think it's killing small business and it's all of the criticism that goes along in that direction. So one of the ways that we can counter that is we can show that these people are your next door neighbor who had a very personal story to them and they believe this product should be in the world for a reason. And when you put your photo out there and it's this authentic photo with this authentic story, people can't help but connect to that and realize, oh no, these guys are not the bad guys. These guys are the good guys. And so that's what we need to do as brands. We need to be more transparent and put ourselves out there and tell the story well of like, why do you believe this should even be in the world? Why is this not another tchotchke that's going to end up in a landfill? Like, why is this important to us? What is the end result? How is it going to change our lives? That's what this is communicating so well. Hey, Ohio, great job. We are fans.
Absolutely.
Let's get into our honorable mention. We have our final brand, which we couldn't go over all 10 brands in this video, or the video would be super long, but we agreed that we should bring in one bonus brand because it's a great example of if you don't have a large catalog, this is something very simple that most brands can do when they're in maybe like a product launch phase. I'll let you explain why you think this one stood out to us.
So I love this one so much because of the lifestyle photography going on. So if you see the women over here by the poolside reading the magazine in the sun, living that aspirational, that girl aesthetic is something that I want to resonate with. And so the product is almost secondary to the image. What is actually being sold is a version of yourself. So when I see images like this, I want to do this too. It makes me feel that when I buy this product, I'm going to be that girl. That's something they do really well, is selling you on that feeling. And especially in a commodity, I think it's very important to sell that feeling as well. And it's also just the colors. I love the color system going on, the electric teal, the hot pink, and then the blues, the greens, because most of the brands, the traditional energy drink brands, they're really just dark. If you've noticed that, the energy drink brands, they're dark and they're aggressive and they're loud in completely different way, but this one does something a little different.
A couple things that stand out to me is that one, if you look at the photography of this brand, it's totally different from all the other examples we showed. It's got that grainy, what you called noisy texture, which I love, and it makes you feel like it's a magazine cover. So then it ties back to that module down below of the girl laying down there reading her magazines. Like the whole thing really feels like it could say Vogue at the top and gives you that feeling, right? But the other best practices are also brought into this design in a different way. So rather than having an us versus them, we have a what we put in and what we leave out. And then if you look down at the bottom, they're anchoring with their media mentions. So they're still putting this stuff in. They're just keeping it simple and focused on introducing the product, because this is probably a new to market brand and they're just trying to introduce it to you. Nothing over the top. We don't have a lot of carousels going on. As brands that are just launching new products, you don't need to overthink it. If you don't have a large catalog, just focus on the main goal here, which in their case is probably probably selling through the variety pack, and that's what they're doing a really great job of here, introducing the product, getting people to try it out. So that wraps up this roundup of our top 6 brands. You can see the full list of the top 10 on our blog. And if there's any specific category that you want us to do next, feel free to drop us a comment down below and we'll do our roundup for that category, hopefully sometime in the future. I'll see you on the next one.